As companies look to multiple cloud service providers for out-of-the-box solution to their problems, AWS offers Honeycomb and Amplify to help. Amazon Honeycomb is a no-code environment for managing online and mobile applications. Amazon Amplify, on the other hand, assists developers in designing full-stack, scalable software that can adapt to any agile use case while requiring little or no cloud expertise. So let's have a look at what these services are and how they can be integrated with each other to build custom management applications. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, I want to request you to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so that you don't miss out on any new update or video releases from Great Learning. If you enjoyed this video, show us some love and like this video. Knowledge increases by sharing, so make sure you share this video with your friends and colleagues. Make sure to comment on the video for any query or suggestions, and I will respond to your comments.
What exactly is HoneyCode? Well, when you talk about HoneyCode, it is a fully managed AWS service. It lets you develop powerful mobile and web applications without writing any code. Yes, you don't have to write code. You can write certain, basically you can put in certain filters or basically put in certain conditions that are similar to writing code. So that is why I've said that almost zero code in the title. The reason for that is you could be required to code a little if necessary. If not, you can have it as a plain usage as well, right? So that is what HoneyCode is. It is more of a worksheet access kind of a thing where you can create worksheets, workbooks, and on top of that you can build applications that you can share with others and you can interact with those applications as well. And you do not need to code for this particular service, that is AWS HoneyCode. I'll give you a walkthrough as to how it works, right? And it is very true what you see here. You can build apps in minutes and you do not need code for that.
Now what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at AWS HoneyCode and Amplify and see how we can get started with building our own first mobile application using AWS.
The next one is your AWS Amplify. It is an end-to-end solution that enables mobile and front-end web developers to build and deploy secure, scalable, full-stack applications powered by AWS. So again, with Amplify, you can build web apps, you can build mobile apps. Now you'd wonder, as in when you have HoneyCode, why do you need something like Amplify where you are gonna code? See, there are quite a few functionalities that you can add using Amplify, right? Whether you want to connect to a backend, right? Whether you want to build applications and migrate it for different platforms, you can do all these things. So you get more functionality here. When you talk about HoneyCode, it was released in May, June, July, somewhere during that time this year, and it still has quite a few functionalities that needs to be added to it. Say for example, now you can add Honeycomb APIs to basically connect with the backend, but that has started recently. So there are not a lot of options that you have with HoneyCode. But the best thing about HoneyCode is if you do not have coding knowledge, you can still work with it. So we're gonna go ahead and build an app using HoneyCode, and post that I'm gonna also tell you how you can actually go ahead and approach building applications process using AWS Amplify.
Alright guys, now that we checked out the theoretical aspect of things, it's vital that we have a hands-on experience with it. So let's get started with the demo of building our first mobile application using HoneyCode.
I'm going to switch into my console here. So guys, for people who were asking about AWS free tier, while we start the demo, I'm going to answer quite a few questions. All you have to do is look for AWS free tier console. You would be redirected to this page and it would ask you to sign up. Enter your credit card or debit card details. They would charge you like 2 Indian rupees. I'm not sure about the US charges, but in India, it's like 2 Indian rupees for the verification process. Post that, you won't be charged anything. Okay. All you have to do is ensure that you follow the free tier limits and you won't be charged. So when you do that, and if you log in, I'll show you how the AWS console looks like. Yeah, there you go. So it's logged in now. You see, this is how the interface looks like when you talk about AWS, right? So again, some of you asked about what are these security options that we have. If you click on services here, you see there's a separate domain for security. It should be somewhere here. Scroll down. And where do you read security in here? You see security, identity, and compliance. So there's so many services that you have which serve different purposes, right? From encryption to SSHing to IAM accesses, right? To getting in firewalls in place, right? whether you talk about putting in shields, right? All these things can be taken care by these services that you see here: security, identity, and compliance. Okay, Internet of Things, somebody asked me about that. See, you can connect or do these many things. All these different things let you set up the infrastructure, right from setting up a router kind of a thing where you can connect to other devices, have a central management system, to basically having one-click devices and audio, video streaming, and all kind of these options that you want. So all these things can be done by using IoT services that AWS offers. Now, the question on our plate is, what can we do when you talk about HoneyCode? I search for HoneyCode here, it would take me to a new page. So guys, once you connect to HoneyCode, so this is where it will bring you. Don't do that, just look for this particular link, right? So this is the developer link that you have, and it's this, that is builder.honeycode.aws. So you would be redirected to this page. So guys, again, you would be required to sign up here. Once you do sign up, you can do quite a few things with this particular tool that you have, which is an AWS product again. So note one thing, all you have to do is put in your email ID and your password, and you would be logged into this thing. Another thing that you can do is you can download this thing on Play Store, so that you can actually go ahead and take a look at all the workbooks and applications that you create. So in Play Store, go ahead and look for AWS HoneyCode, and you should be able to see this app there. If you download it, you'll be able to see all the apps that you want to. Let's create a workbook, guys. This is a fairly simple thing. I'll show you how can you actually go ahead and set up an interface here. Again, guys, there are options for you to go ahead and create custom applications, right, which are true for web and for mobiles. And you can also go ahead and basically create everything from scratch. So I'm going to show you both the processes. So let's start by creating a workbook quickly. Since we are very less on time, I'm not going to add in too much functionalities here, and we are not going to spend too much time beautifying our app. I'm going to rather quickly show you how to get this done, and I'm sure you all can do it. Okay, let's call this workbook as demo workbook. Okay, and I'm gonna say create. So guys, if you've noticed, I've selected an option called as create from scratch here. Okay, so you can actually go ahead and use custom templates as well if you want to. That is also an option that you have. I've personally never tried creating custom templates, so when you do that, you get more functionality there. But since it is so easy, why create custom templates, right? You can do everything from scratch. So the first thing that I have is, I have tables here, so I can put in my data in the table. Do not worry, I'll tell you why HoneyCode is important, what are its applications, but let's just go ahead and quickly build an application from scratch first. Okay, so let's just assume that I want to have an application where I'm managing my employee attendance. Okay, so let's just go ahead and try and do that. Okay, so again, this is something that thought came into mind right away. So I've never built an employee app before. I've mostly built other apps, but for now, let's just try and build one. There's no rocket science here. Let's rename this particular folder and let's call it employee attendance. We would first build the backend part of things, right? And once we are done with that, then we'll actually go ahead and see how the interface looks in the front end. Okay, so I'm going to hit the enter button, right? So the name has been changed now, and let's just give this column a certain name. Let's call it, say, name of the employee. Okay, what are the other things that we can add here? ID, right? And what is the other thing that we can add here? Attendance. Okay, so we are building a very basic app here. Okay, do not put in a lot of thought process. Let's give in certain names. We have Ram, we have Shamprati, right? We have Mudita, we have Chirag, we have Bhavya, and we have someone like Vishal. Okay, let this field have IDs, right? And let's just go ahead and add attendance here. Okay. So okay, so we have one table that is in place. We'll align everything later, but that's for the later part. Let's create another table here, right? And let's just go ahead and say, let's call this table as what should we call it? Let's call it, rename as ID. I do not want these. So this table is not adding a lot of value, but still let's have one, right? And I'm just gonna take a look at some of the data that we have in this table quickly. So we have 6 records here. Let it be 6. Let me add one more table now. And let's call this table status. That is for the attendance that we have. Okay. So let's call it attendance stat. Let's delete these. Let's delete this as well. So if I go to employee attendance, I have present and absent. There you go. So guys, the table is in place. We have all these 3 tables with all the records that we need. Now let's go ahead and create an interface for the app that we need. So we've created a workbook in which we've put in certain sets of details that we require. I'm gonna go ahead and open this workbook again, and I'm gonna come here and say, click on builder, add a new app. You can use an app wizard that again beautifies stuff for you, so you can try those things out. The aim is you understand how the basics work here, right? So for now, let's not get into the details of those things. Let's call it employee attendance to start with, right? So once you do that, you should be having an interface that you need to put in place. Let's just go ahead and add some other features, functionalities here, right? Now we know that we have these things in place. We can also go ahead and beautify these things a little. So you have an option of adding an object here. So this is how the template would look for you, more or less, right? So we can just go ahead and say add. When you say add, you're gonna go ahead and add a content box here. Let's call this content box as details, maybe daily details. And inside this, I'm going to go ahead and add a list here where we are going to go ahead and import all the data that we put in 3 tables that we've just created. So employee attendance is what I want to do here. And within a minute, you should see that this has been put in place. Let's see if we can beautify this a little. I'm going to select this part and I'm going to change color for this particular theme. Let's keep it a little formal. So I'm going to go ahead and use maybe this color, and in the interim, let me go ahead and change this piece of color. Let's make it white. So there you go. We have our text in place. We have all the details that we need. Let's bold this text that we have, right, so that it looks a little better. And I'm gonna select this text as well. Unfortunately, I cannot format it. I do not know why that is the case. I'll have to look into it. But as you can see, we have a template in place, right? So what you can also do is you can actually go ahead and have a different table here in that table, or different list here, where you can add some functionality saying that if somebody is present, then show that person's attendance here if somebody is absent, you can go ahead and show that person's attendance here. That is doable. Okay, so let's just skip that for now. Let's just go ahead and see how does this app look like, the one that we've created. So I'm gonna view this app here. And so guys, when you create these applications and if you download the HoneyCode app from your Play Store in your phone, whatever changes you make here, those would be visible in your app that you have with you. So make sure you go ahead and take a look at that as well. Okay, so guys, you see the app is visible now, right, in the web domain right now. If you want to take a look at this app in your mobile, you can take a look at it and all this data would be visible there as well. Again, the formatting is not in place. You can edit that later, but that is not our purpose right now. Our main focus is how to go ahead and create an app, right? So again, if somebody is present, right, so what I want is, I want this present or absent button to have a specific color. So can I go ahead and add a button here instead, right? Let's try and do that. So when you talk about somebody being present, let this content box, can I add a particular color to it? Right, I can. So let's add your text a particular color, making it white, right? And instead you can even have a button here if you want to. So you can add buttons here. When you add a button, if you click on this particular thing, it will have certain functionality. You can make it move around. So that is the other thing that you can do. Now if I go back to the app again, you see there's an instant reflection here, right? So guys, when you ask about these kind of applications, you might have a question here, right? What is the use of this kind of an app? Now if you add more functionality here, as I've mentioned, you can have another table here. Let me show you, then probably that would make little more sense to you. Let's just select a column list, and in the column list again import this data, right? And as I've mentioned here, you can actually go ahead and represent the data where people are present. So if you can just go ahead and delete this for now and add a button here instead. So in this button you can have another text like present, and you can probably add in some colors. Okay, so if you just come back here, okay, this is not reflecting here. You see it's reflecting now. Unfortunately, it is showing that everybody is present here. That is not true about this data though. What you can do is you can actually come here and select this functionality and probably add a source code here, right? So if you add a filter here saying that for the particular table and particular column, what is the name of this thing? Attendance equal to present. So if you do that, only the people who are present in your table, that data would be reflected here, and you can do that. So again, you might ask a question as in, what is the benefit of having an application like this, right? What all can you do with it? Okay, so let's go ahead and continue with the session that we are having on our plate, right? Let's just go ahead and talk about the stuff. So guys, this is how you can create an application. I stopped midway when I said that what is the use of these kind of applications? So when you add functionality here, what all can you do is you can actually go ahead and ensure that you can actually go ahead and add in more functionality. Like we could have even had an application here where you can actually go ahead and process attendance for people, right? What if we have an in-house tracker that we need, right? In a company, you have tools like Jira and all those that you use, which are very good. But again, their functionality is very structured and you have to follow the structure that is there. What if you need to have an in-house or in-team app that works differently for the team? You can create an attendance tracker there, right? You can create a sheet that meets your particular requirements, and you can probably share it in the form of apps where people can view that on their mobile phones, on their web apps, and whatever changes the admin or whoever has access to can make to it, those would be reflected for everyone and everyone can see those changes, right? So that is one benefit. You can also have basic setups. Let's assume that you want to start a business where you want to deliver groceries to people. Please forgive me, guys. There's a call that my mother's getting since I've tried all the mobile phones to connect to the internet. So that is the reason there are a couple of mobiles lying here and her phone is unfortunately not on silent. Let me just quickly make it or put it on silent. Yeah. So let's assume that you want to create an online grocery delivery app. You can do that, right? You can create a worksheet here, put in the products that you want, and you can have buttons there. so people can actually go ahead and put in all the information that they want. Now you might ask, can we connect it to a backend? The functionalities here are still limited, but that is pretty much doable. Okay, so this is how you actually go ahead and build an app. As I've already mentioned, you can go ahead and create some template apps as well. So if I just come back here, right, and if I just come back here and if I delete this workbook, all that I've created would go. Okay, I want to do that. The reason for that is I'll show you why. Let's say create a workbook now, and this time let's say I want to pick something that is more of a template. So if I use a template, say team task tracker, create. So these are some templates that AWS also gives you, right? So let's just go ahead and see how it works. And there you go, there's a template in place for you. You can actually go ahead and create, right, an app for this. There's all the information here that you need. So you can actually go ahead and just come here and say build an app. Let's try and use an app wizard. I've never done that before, so I'm doing it with you people for the first time. I'm just gonna say next for now. Choose a table, it says, right? So what was the name of the table that we just created? Team tasks. Let's see if we can just go ahead and have a team tasks table here. So there was some table that I randomly picked up. I just want to see how does this wizard work for you, right? So after that, we are making an app for you, and it is getting that done for you on its own, right? So for this M team, there's an app that is getting created. I'm not sure how that app is going to look. Let's just go ahead and see. So it shows my name there as well. That's nice. And if you try to share this app, which I cannot for now, I'm just going to say next to see how does this wizard work. And I say apply. So by default also you can go ahead and create a template. Let me just see how does the template look like. So I've just picked up a random table, a random data set, and I've just gone ahead and seen how it looks. This is how it looks. It's not very interactive. So this is a basic app that it has created. You can go ahead and create one more yourself, right? Come here and just say create an app. This is your team tasks app that was created by default, and you see all the functionality is here, right? So if you view it in the app form, you can see there would be some interaction that you can do with this app, which is again a template app. Okay, you see, these are the details about the work, whether it's in progress, is it high on priority, and all those things, right? So it's created a daily update tracker. So you can add filters here as well. What are the filters? You can select an option. A newsletter is what you can look for, right? Assignee is Vishal Padghan. Again, guys, this is something that I'm doing just for the namesake. I'm just not aware about all the details. So there's no such thing in this record. So whatever data I've entered, it's not valid for assignee Vishal. So he's not worked on any of these kind of projects. So the task says there's nothing that we can display. You can actually go ahead and do quite a few things in AWS Amplify as well. Let's just come here and look for AWS Amplify, right? I'll just tell you what all can you do here. You see, in AWS Amplify, you can again develop web apps. Here, Amplify provides you frameworks for command line interface and library for creating applications. So if you come here, you can choose all these platforms for web applications. And for mobile, you can use your Android. Again, there are step-to-step guides here how you can go ahead and do that. If you start the free tutorial, you'd be actually going ahead and putting in all these requirements. You have to create an Android Studio project though. So it's a time-consuming process to start with because you'll need to install Node.js, Android Studio, and Android SDK. That is Android API level 29 basically, and also install AWS Amplify CLI. So once you install all these things, you can actually go ahead and create a project here as well. But again, this is something where you'd be needing coding. Say for example, if you come here, this is the Android Studio that you look, this is how it looks like. If you just click on new project, right? You can just come here and say, select a basic activity, click on next. You can go ahead and say create an application. All the details are here. I'm using Java platform. You can use Kotlin as well if you want to. That's up to you, right? What platform do you want to use? And just say finish. and if you click on finish, within few minutes your application should be your basic code should be up and running here. Now you might wonder, as in, once I have this code, this is something that is giving me an application in my it is giving me application in my Android Studio. What is AWS doing here? In that case, guys, what you people can do is you can actually go ahead and edit this code. How do you edit that code? You see, if you come here, there are certain instructions here. What they wanted to do is, in your main activity file or in your XML files, just replace some of these steps that are mentioned here. You'll have to replace these certain pieces of code with the AWS Amplify code. And once you do that, and if you set it up using the framework terminal here that you have, you see you have a terminal here. If you set it up using the terminal, you can actually go ahead and install these applications, and once you build it, you can basically have it run one on your mobile phones as well, and also on the cloud. So since they are based on AWS cloud, now these applications is something that you can put in your Play Store as well. But again, this is a tedious task and a complicated process. So if you want to, you can definitely give it a try building these applications here from the scratch. Okay. So by now, I believe, guys, we've talked about quite a few pointers. I hope that you understood how to go ahead and build HoneyCode apps and what AWS Amplify is all about.
So alright guys, I hope this module added a lot of value to your learning. We also built our first mobile application using AWS as well. So this is a very, very important module. You can watch this module, rewatch this module a couple of times, guys. It's extremely important that you have this kind of a practical knowledge, a hands-on experience, before continuing ahead, right? Perfect.
If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, I want to request you to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so that you don't miss out on any new update or video releases from Great Learning. If you enjoyed this video, show us some love and like this video. Knowledge increases by sharing, so make sure you share this video with your friends and colleagues. Make sure to comment on the video for any query or suggestions, and I will respond to your comments.